Before starting the video, there are two things I want to mention about the Gigabyte Z690i. First, if you bought this on any Gigabyte motherboards, during the first boot, before doing anything, go to the Settings tab, then I/O ports, and disable the Gigabyte App Center. This is the piece of shit, and Gigabyte thinks it's cool to force it down our throat. Secondly, according to a Gigabyte rep on Reddit, this board is so broken that it could not be fixed via BIOS update. Basically, the board has tons of weird errors if the PCIe is set to Gen 4. The only way to fix it is changing to PCIe Gen 3. If you already own the board, you may need to RMA it in the future. And if you plan to buy it, I think you should hold off or choose other brands. That was the unboxing and CPU installation footage. Let's quickly go through the compatibility of this motherboard with some coolers that I own. First is the original Noctua L9i. It will not fit, and that's why Noctua released the L9 17XX version. Next is the Cryrix C7. This one seems to fit, but it will require the new bracket. But I could not find it anywhere in the US. For the Outperform Black Ridge, the cooler is not compatible due to the tall VRM heatsink. If you have the Black Ridge, Outperform just released the bracket for LGA 1700. You can email them and they will send one for free. However, it would be crazy to use those coolers for the i9-12900K CPU. My plan is using the Cooler Master ML240 Illusion AIO, as I barely use it after the Messlicious build. But the cooler's Intel bracket does not fit the board, so I had to buy the new LGA 1700 bracket on Amazon. With the new bracket, this AIO is 100% compatible with this board, as you can see that I can mount it in all 4 ways easily. Since learning to build a PC, I have only bought ASUS motherboards for myself and have used 3 Intel and 3 AMD boards, so it feels weird to see Gigabyte uses graphic card fan headers on this board. Only the CPU fan connector is normal. The other 3 headers are all headers that you usually see on graphic card PCBs. I think this is a weird decision as they both occupy the same space. I don't like the cable they provided, so I grabbed a sleeve cable on eBay, which is much nicer. Next, I install my M.2 drives. According to the user manual, this board can only support NVMe M.2 SSD, so if you already have the SATA M.2 drives, you are required to buy new drives, and I think this is quite stupid. Gigabyte calls this M.2 connector, and I really like it because it makes M.2 installation so easy. And to remove it for installation, you first need to pull out the front I/O audio cable, which is tucked behind the I/O shield. The build was done, but the AIO tubes of the Cooler Master ML240 Illusion were too short for the radiator to be placed on the table. After trying to managing the cables, I could fit the AIO, but it did not look very good as the cables coming from the power supply were exposed. I did not like it, so I grabbed the Phanteks Glacier 1 240 mph cooler on Amazon. However, when I received it, I could hear water splashing inside, and hear how it looked when I removed the seal. The AIO was broken and water leaked out. I think Amazon was at fault as they shipped the cooler without boxing or padding. I gotta say thumb up to Phanteks for their package. The box absorbed most of the water, so all the components were completely dry despite me shaking it. I took the chance to try smelling the liquid. There was no smell, but the liquid combined with the paper box released vinegar smell, which was quite unpleasant. I ordered a replacement. This time they put it in the box with bubble wrap. The cooler also came with the latest Intel LGA 1700 bracket, so I did not have to request Phanteks to send me one. And with the new cooler, the 12900K RTX 3090 build is finally completed. The Phanteks AIO is so beautiful, and similar to the Cooler Master one, this cooler also fits on this motherboard, so you don't have to worry about the clearance. Because the pump is PWM, you can use a fan splitter cable to plug both the AIO and fans to the CPU fan header. However, I wanted the pump to run more quietly, so I plugged the fans to a separated header on the motherboard. The Cooler Master ML240 cooler has DC pump, so it needs to run at maximum speed all the time, which makes it much louder. Here is my fan profile for both coolers. The only difference is I have the AIO pump for the Phanteks set at 45%. Let's have a look at the Cooler Master AIO's noise and temperature on the stock 12900K under 10 minutes of Cinebench R23. With my room temperature at 23 degrees, the Cooler Master managed to keep the CPU from thermal throttling, but the max temperature was about 93 degrees, so it was very high. The Phanteks Glacier 1 has a longer tube, so it has more water, plus it uses Asetek Gen 7 pump, so we can expect it to be better. Not only the pump runs slower and quieter, the CPU max temperature was kept under 85 degrees. On both coolers, I used the Noctua NF812x25, so the differences are just the two AIOs. Some people claim that even a 360mm AIO has hard time in controlling this CPU. I guess they just need to buy a better cooler. I am very pleased with the look and the performance of the new build. However, one thing I do not like is the Gigabyte motherboard. As mentioned at the start of the video, it will sneakily install the App Center software to your Windows. I had to use Revo Uninstaller Pro to uninstall and get rid of all the leftover files on my PC. If you decide to keep using it and try to install sub-applications to maybe install the BIOS, App Center will automatically download Norton antivirus. How the hell is that legal? Plus, their BIOS update software didn't work on this board either. So yeah, fuck Gigabyte for their asshole practice. Using Gigabyte makes me think perhaps I treated Asus AI Suit 3 too harshly. Next is the hardware error if the PCIe settings are set to Gen 4 and it is so broken that Gigabyte is planning to recall an RMA. Their software sucks and so does their hardware. This board also takes very long to boot to the BIOS screen. It needs at least 20 seconds, which is very annoying. However, it is the only high-end DDR4 Z690 ITX board that can handle a 2900K. If you go with DDR5, stay away from it and grab the Asus, or pick the MSI if you need better cooler compatibility. It is time for my 9900K system to retire, and I think I had so much fun with it. The refurbished Corsair H100i V2 AIO, which I have used since 2017, is such a beast. It did a great job in cooling the i7 7700K, Ryzen 7 2700X, and the bare die i9 9900K. That's it for today's video. I hope that you found some information from this video useful. As I am still new to this, I will do some more testings with the new system. Please let me know if there's something you want me to check. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.